There are a couple of questions here. Brahman is equal to consciousness. So there are three equals. That means identically equal to consciousness. But when we pray for material things or a pure mind, who listens? It cannot be consciousness. Is it Ishvara, Brahman with form? If so, is he everywhere or in physical location like in heaven? So the question is being posed by a jiva, an individual, and who is praying for the Lord. I want this, I want this. Does Lord have a form for me to pray? Ramana Maharshi answered this question very simply. If you think you have a form, then Lord also has a form. As simple as that. What form Lord has? Whatever you think, Lord has. So if you give a form to the Lord, then that form Lord has. So, in our Vedas, Lord with the different forms have been defined. If he has the same two hands, then we don't think everybody has two hands. He should have at least more hands, since he is the Lord. So put more hands. We have one head, give him more heads also. So any form that you think Lord has, he has that form. It's called Ishta Devata. Ishta Devata means you invoke him in any form. Then don't fight on forms. Is it this form and not that form? That's ridiculous. It's like a child fly fighting. In fact, in our Hinduism, we have so open-minded, when you do prayers and when the priest come to your house, you want Lord to come. So you put turmeric powder or something and make a ball out of it and start praying Ganesha. And before you pray, you ask Ganesha to come there. Asmin bimbe Mahaganapatim avahayami. That's how you start. In this bimbam, in this form, I want Lord the Ganesha to come there. Lord Ganesha may be everywhere, anywhere. But now I want to pray. But I want to pray, I cannot pray anywhere. But I can invoke him in some form for me to pray. So I want to salute the nation. In where? Should I salute in Washington or should I salute in LA or should I salute somewhere? If I want to salute America, I need a place where I can say, this is what the Lord form is or the country is for me to salute. He says, no, we'll give you a piece of cloth with stars and stripes. You salute that. But that's a piece of cloth. How can it be nation? But we invoke the presence of nation in that form, and from that on, that form is nation. For me, I had to respect that flag and chant all our stotras to that flag. What we are doing is not to the flag and not to the cloth, but we are respecting the nation that stands for it. No one really prays idols. It is the ideal behind the idol, that's what is respected. So the Lord is everywhere, that's true. Every religion says he is omnipresent. But I cannot pray omnipresent anywhere. Anyway, it's difficult for my mind to conceive that, because mind only can conceive form that is finite. Therefore, in what form I can conceive any form, because every form is his form only. Therefore, I can invoke him in any form that where my mind can see that form as the ideal behind that. I can salute any cloth as a nation. But no, Now, this form let us standardize as this form is the nation or represents the nation. Therefore, everybody respects that form as that is standing for the nation. And therefore, we have the way of reverential way of how to hoist the flag also, how to untake it out, and if it is torn also, there is a procedure to how to discard that also. In Vinayaka Chaviti, where you invoke the presence of Ganesha in that form, but also we discard that also. So in any prayer, or Vedantic prayer, where we are invoking, the priest comes to your house, where you bring the Lord in, and then once the Lord has come, it is no more the turmeric powder paste there. When you say Asmin Bimbe, whatever the god you say, whether Ganesha or Narayana or whatever, you invoke him, from then on, that stands for the Lord. Therefore, I should have the reverential attitude to that form, because when he says form, a formless form is invoked in a form, because he is all-pervading. When he is all-pervading, he is pervading in that also. But when I invoke him, that's called invocation. When I am invoking, I can invoke him in any form that appeals to my heart. So your heart has to conceive, yes, that is, hey, I am a Vaishnavite. Then invoke him in the form of Vishnu. Remember, in the Vishnu Sahasranama, you can chant, right? Starts with Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro. The first name is Vishwam. Vishnu means whole universe is Vishnu. That's what essentially what this stands for. And he is Vishnu. Vishwam, Vishnu. Vishnu means Vyapakatvat. He is pervading everything, is also Vishnu. The whole universe is Vishnu, he pervades everything also. The whole universe. These are the Namavali. If you understand it, that's the beauty there. Karanam, Karanam, Karta. All there in the Vishnu Sahasranam only. That's what we are talking about. He is the Karanam, he is a Karanam also. Karanam is a material cause, Karta is an intelligent cause. Provided we understand the meaning of those mantras that we chant. So in principle, even though Brahman is consciousness, even though he is everywhere, I can invoke in a form that appeals to me, to my mind, then I have to treat that as a form. As long as I think I am a separate, then God is also separate. If I think I have a body, then God has a body. What body? In whatever form you invoke. Since he is every body, at least you invoke in the body where you can see him at least. Should I pray for things? Yes, you can pray. Krishna gives you, there are 4 types of bhaktas, right, in the Gita. Artho, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnanincha, Bharatarshava. The first bhakta is Artha. Artha means, oh Lord, please help me. He is desperate. Until then, he never thought about the Lord. Now he has no more to go. At least, okay, if the Lord is there, please let him come. At least I am in desperate position. He invokes the Lord's praise. Artha. Other fellow knows God is everywhere and it's better to be in a good list. They are not in the black list, blacklist. So I want to be in the good list of a Lord. So I want to pray, go to the temple, spend half an hour every day because my list is growing of what I want. Keep on praying, oh Lord, give me this, give me that, give me that, give me this, list. Make sure this one is good, make sure the other one is good, make sure everybody is good. The list goes on, and I have to pray more and more. Called Artharthi. Artharthi means he is asking for something. He is also Bhakta. The third one is Jignasu. I want to know what is that. That's what Rama is asking now. Who is that God? What is this world and who am I? That's called Jignasu. Jnanam, it's just the one who is inquiring what is the nature of the Lord. What is the nature of myself? What is the nature of the truth? And the one who knows after the camp is over, you will become all jnanis, and he is the highest bhakta. Not the one who is asking. You can ask, because it's better to ask him than an uncle or somebody, right? Because he doesn't refuse. But he gives only, be careful though, he gives only when you deserve though. He doesn't give unless you deserve. So, first you have to serve to deserve. That's what Swamiji said. First you need to serve to add something else to it. Serve whom? Serve the Lord. Where is the Lord to serve? Not in this turmeric powder. You only invited him. In fact, when you invited him, you do all the, when a chief guest comes, you remember, you have to give him coke or something, just like that. You have to give him paniyam samarpayami, argyam samarpayami. All those, the 16 steps are there involving. You are offering him because the chief guest has come. When somebody has chief guest, if the governor of this state comes, you keep everything, all the dirt, everything outside, cover it up and make sure that he sits comfortably. You offer coke or something, all those things you do. If simple governor comes here, you do all that hangama. If the Lord himself, you are inviting him, you better behave properly there. So all those puja vidhi is invocation and respecting that Lord, that whom you invoke yourself for some purpose also. And then once you invoke, after your work is over, you have to send him back. There is also visarjanam. Say, sir, now you can go. My purpose is over, you can go now. That's what we do in our puja. But when you go to a temple, it's invoked permanently there. That's what is Kumbhabhishekam means. Kumbhabhishekam, it is an idol that sculpture has put in, but once it is put in, once the Kumbhabhishekam is over, it is the Lord there permanently. And therefore the pujas have to go on continuously there. There is no visarjanam there. So the question that was posed is, yes, when we pray, even though it is all-pervading, he is omnipresent, I can invoke him in a form for me to pray. That's what initial meditations are, okay? That's what bhakta is. Bhakta involves where the Lord is in front of me, where I have to surrender to the bhakta also. So is Ishvara a form? Yes. Okay? So that is the answer for that. What is the purpose of I don't know. What is the purpose of this question? I don't know. Divided him by God. The human creation especially. Does God created us just to see Jagannatakam and enjoy? Hope this question will be answered by the end of this camp. Because if God created up in the sky, we ask the question, why did he create? He can create, but why did he create me? He didn't even consult me before he created me. He could have asked me, hey, should I be born or not? And I am being thrown into this, and then I had to work in this whole world all my life and struggle hard for what? Because he created unnecessarily. So we have that concept in other religions. Our religions will start shifting depending upon how you ask the question, answer is given there. Depending on how you ask the question. First answer is, Lord created. Why? Because he is the Lord. Who are you going to ask? Lord, because if he has to answer you, then he is no more Lord. So Lord, by definition, he can do whatever he wants. He has a lordship. There is a statement, king cannot do anything wrong. And even if he changes what he did before thinking that he thought he wrong, even that is right and this is also right. Because he is king. Who are you to question? So therefore, what should I say? Oh, it is his leela. It is his sport. So why does he have a sport at my expense? If you ask that question, we go to all other answers. What? First is, where is that God? He says, he himself became many. You are also that. Now you tell me why you created this mess. You say you are not different from God because everything is created Him only, because He Himself became many. He became you also. So these questions are answered in a different degrees of explanations in our scriptures. Okay? Ultimately, if you say, where is the creation? Why are you asking all this? There's no creation. Oh, I am seeing. Yeah, that's the problem. Let's find out what you are seeing now. Okay? So we have to answer that question. So in order to explain this in a simple way, the Upanishad says, this is just like you are creating a dream world. That comes from the Mandukya Upanishad. It's from the Upanishad teaching only. Just as you created your own dream world. Now tell me, why are you creating the dream world? You are sitting in comfortably after scrumptious meals and sitting in a lazy boy chair, lying down. We had very good meals, right? Lying down. We don't have lazy boy chair here. And there is a talk going on that is conducive to go to sleep. So if you go to that and start dreaming, and then you are projecting whole creation there, you are the creator. And after projecting the creation, you yourself who created the dream entered as though into your own dream as one of the subjects in the dream. It's called anupravesham. Anupravesham means entering into your dream as though one of the subjects in the dream that you yourself created. And then complain, why this creation? Who is having a play at my expense? Because the tiger is chasing me. I'm running away from this tiger. Remember, I'm sitting in an air-conditioned room after scrumptious meals. But now I'm in the forest in my dream. And the tiger is chasing me. I am cursing, what is this tiger? Who created this tiger? And running away in the forest. I myself created the tiger. I myself created the forest. And I am the one who is running away from the tiger. And asking the questions, why this tiger is chasing me? Oh Lord, please help me. You are there everywhere. I heard you are a great guy. You are very compassionate. Please help me to save from this tiger. And the tiger is also praying. Remember? It's an Astika, not Nastika tiger. Oh Lord, I've been starving for 10 days and this is the man I could find very delicious food here and I please help me to catch him so that I can also enjoy and then pray you also. Now what God has to do? He will stand and say, let me see the tamasha. Who is going to do what? That's why it's called Leela. When I get up from the dream, I don't say, where is the gun? I want to shoot the tiger that was chasing me. You don't do that. Oh, that's not real. Who says it's not real? One who is awakened from the dream state says the dream was not real. And scripture says it is exactly like that. Sakale satyavad bhati prabhote satyasad bhavet. As long as you are in that, like a dreamer, you will also see the world is real, the forest is real, people is real, tigers are real, there are snakes, there are foxes, there are people, there are good people also. Everything is there. But how do I recognize this is a play, this is the truth, who am I? In contrast to the dream, where dream doesn't have that intellect, the viveka is not there. What is the viveka? That Rama just now showed. What is real, what's not real, what's permanent, what is not impermanent. That vichara cannot be done in the dream because intellect is in low web. If the intellect can do, then he is not able to dream also. He is awake. So only in the waking state you have that discriminative intellect is there. And that can be used to understand, to get up while still in the state. That's what is called Jivan Mukta. How did Rama become Jivan Mukta is what we are going to study. But those are the two questions. If you have any more questions, write it down and put it, and next tomorrow we'll answer that also. It's 2 o'clock. We'll start the term. So, Vishwamitra addressed Rama and defined what is bondage He says bondage is because of vasanas. Now why did vasanas come? We give simple explanation. Vasanas come when I perform an action with an attitude that I am a doer. Now, question comes, sir, you say I am born because of vasanas. That means vasanas should be there before I am born. Right? And you say I have done work, coffee. Remember I gave coffee example, coffee, in order for me to drink coffee, I am already there to drink coffee. So that means I should have been there before vasanas came. So what's your answer? Where did the vasanas come? Before I am even born? Oh, that's in your last life. You did all the things, you accumulated vasanas, and those vasanas now propelled. So don't escape this kind of things. How did last janma came? There must be vasanas for that also. There should be before. How did that come? Oh, that was before that last life. Another life, that was there. Right? Sir, where is the first vasana started? Where is the first birth? Somewhere it starts to start. No, there is no first birth. It is a continuous cycle. Anadi means beginningless. This is how Vedantins easily escape. Now the question that comes is, why I am involved in trying to say, I want this, I want this? Because Scripture says, I do not know that I am already happy. Therefore, I am going for happiness. Therefore, what I am looking for all the time, I want cup of coffee because what? Without cup of coffee, I am not happy. That's why we are running around all over the place to see where the coffee is sold. So, the understanding is that I am already unhappy because I have not recognized that the happiness that I am longing for is coming from me. That knowledge is not there. That is, the ignorance of my own true nature is the cause for all the actions. So what's the root cause for me going after this is ignorance of my own self. That I am the Ananda Swarupa, that I do not know, and I think of happiness in this, happiness in that, so it is like a rat race going after one or other. Therefore, fundamental problem is the ignorance is the fundamental problem. In the sense, I do not know myself. So when did my ignorance started? I say, do you know chemistry? No, I don't know chemistry. Since when you started not knowing chemistry? So if you ask question. Since when my ignorance of chemistry started? If ignorance of chemistry started on time, before that I am knowledgeable. So if I am already knowledgeable, how can ignorance start? So any ignorance has to be anadi. Anadi means beginningless. Therefore, the root cause for creation itself is ignorance. Ignorance is beginningless. Therefore, creation is beginningless. Therefore, it is a continuous cycle only. Cycles cannot have a beginning. But if I don't know in chemistry, that ignorance of chemistry is beginningless. But if I start learning chemistry, then it ends. The ignorance, even though it is anadi, anadi means beginningless, no adi, it can end with the knowledge. That means, even though the cycle of birth and going on is an eternal cycle that has no beginning, because the root cause for it is ignorance, and the ignorance itself is anadi, and therefore it will go on, but it can stop when the ignorance stops. Ignorance stops when we attend Memorial Day camps. Okay? That's the whole story. That means knowledge alone can remove the ignorance. Okay? So here, the vasana, the sage is saying, the Vishwamitra, it is the exhaustion of the vasanas is the moksha. So exhaustion of vasanas along with the knowledge that I am that has to come. Knowledge has to come. So here, that is implied in this because he's already teacher is already there teaching. So removal of the vasanas, you remember the vasanas can be removed by surrendering to him. There are two ways to remove. One is by intellectual understanding. Another is by surrenderance. That's why Sharanagati is a means in which the vasanas can be eliminated. So Swami Tejamanya says, you have to hold on one hand on his leg, one leg below his feet. So that he cannot run away or not, you can run away. Yeah. So neither is it. That means you are essentially stuck with him. Daivim esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mami vaye prapajyante maya metam tarantite. Krishna says in the Gita, says this is Daivim esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. My maya is of divine origin. It's not you created maya, it's of divine origin. But surrendering to me, only way, mam eva prapajyante, says mayam etam maya taranti, te taranti. You can cross over this ocean of this maya by surrendering to me. That's what it is. Essentially, surrendering means my ego has to be surrendered. There is nothing else to surrender. That I am, he is doing. He is the simplest surrender. So that is, he has initiated the teaching of it. Then he will ask Vasishtha to continue the teaching. So let's start with that.
Tadantaram Vishwamitrena Prerita San Vasishta Uvacha.
Tadanantaram Vishwamitrena Preritam San Vasishta Uvacha.
Sarvada Sarvameveha Samsare Raghunandana Samyak Prayuktat Sarvena Paurushat Samavapyate. Together. Sarvada Sarvameveha
Samsare Raghunandana
Samyak Prayuktat Sarvena Paurushatra.
So here Vasishtha starts teaching propelled by Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra says, you are his teacher, please teach Rama what is, or answer his questions. He only gave an introduction and he has to continue from there. So from now on, it is the Vasishtha that is going. That's why Yoga Vasishtha. The text is by Vasishtha teaching Rama, because Vasishtha is their Kulaguru. So therefore, other teacher doesn't want to interfere in the teaching. So once he starts, says, please teach your disciple what is the truth that he is asking about. So any teacher starts from the beginning, right? I remember my nephews and nieces, they used to come to me to ask for questions, math questions in that. They just want to know, because they have homework, they just want to know how to solve that problem. I don't answer that question. Because when they ask that problem, I want to know whether they understand the first. I don't want to solve their problem. I want them to solve. But so I'll go to the beginning first. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? So I had to give all that. That's why they are afraid to come to me. But they had to go understand all that. Then they will themselves solve the problem. So I had to prepare their mind to solve the problem. If the background is not there, they cannot really understand. So essentially, the Vasishthas start teaching not only Rama, through Rama to all of us. This is the basic, essentially, why, where did this come from? That was the question. And given the current situation, he starts using that as a basis to explain everything. So when I am a Purusha, Purusha is a human being, and I am performing in this world, and he starts, how should he perform properly first? Before you go to Vedanta, first at least be a good human being, and how you excel yourself in whatever you are doing it. So that is what Purusharthas are there for any Purusha. Purusha is a human being. There is a Purushartha. There are certain things that need to be gained in this life. They are called 4 Purusharthas. This is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are classified as the 4 Purusharthas that one has to accomplish. The first thing is Dharma. Then comes only Artha. Artha means earning money, but it has to be bounded by Dharma. So we have all adharmic way of earning money, that's not what it is. So you can earn as much as you can, no prohibition by Vedanta. You can in fact become millionaire or billionaire by Dharma. Dharma has to come. What is Dharma? Dharma is, the simplest way is, do what you expect others do to you and not to do what you don't want others to do to you. That is simplest Dharma. If you follow that, you will excel in any way. What is that I want others to do? Others, I want them to be kind to me. I want others to help me when I'm in need. So I want fair competition. I don't want anything just handed over like me. I want fair competition. So anywhere I expect all others to do, I have to do that because I am expecting. Oh, others don't do it. Why should I do it? No, your dharma is only about to you. Lord will take care of them. Don't worry about their problem. When I say dharma, purushartham, where I had to do what I need to do, I had to do properly what is right thing to do. Okay? What is right thing to do? It's called swadharme nidhanam shreyaha. What is that right thing to do? What I believe is right thing to do, that is the right thing to do. Oh, that may not be right. Other fellow says that's not right. Yes, that is from other fellow's point. From you, you are convinced that is right, do it. But they don't think that is correct. That may not be right. But follow. What we expect others to do, you have to do that. Oh, I feel everybody, just going there, slapping everybody is my dharma. Because I think that is the right thing to do. If others go to slap you also, will you agree? No. So, dharma is, you have to have proper value system. So, no thief really thinks stealing is good. Right? Even thief also knows stealing is bad. Why? Because he doesn't want other people to steal his stolen property. Right? Whatever he has stolen, he wants other people not to steal it. Because if he believes stealing is good, then he should let other people steal his property also. So he wants only a half of dharma, other people to follow, not him. That means he has a value for it. So that's what correct dharma is. So our scripture starts with dharma. So what is the right dharma? Then it says, atato dharma jigyasa. You have to know what is dharma. Read the scriptures again. The whole karma kanda, all that gives you this, what is dharma also. So therefore, purushartha is what? Is what I can do within my means. And here, the Vasishtha says, Sarvada Sarvam Eva Iha Samsare is Samyak Prayuktat, he says, Samavapyate. In this life, says, all time this is the fact that one can excel in whatever you are doing by doing your effort. Do your effort as best as you can. That becomes a devoted action. So action is, that's why in the second chapter of Gita says, Karmani eva adhikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. So karmani eva adhikaraste. That means you have only choice in performing an action. You have no choice in the results because results are dictated by the laws that are beyond your control. You can work for your promotion, do all that, but results are not in your hands or somebody else. Lord in different forms. In the boss, in the other boss, all other things are the ones who dictate the results, but not you. When I have a stone in my hand, I can throw this side, I can throw that side, I can throw up, I can throw all. That choice I have. But once I throw it, the trajectory of the stone is not dictated by me. Dictated by the gravitational force, the frictional force, all those things that I am not a doer or author of those laws. I have to accept the results of the actions that I perform into the world. Because I have no choice. That's the law of action. Karmani eva adhikaraste. Because these are absolute laws Krishna teaches. Ma paleshu kadachana. Never on the results you have no choice. Simplest way is, I can only act in the present. Right? Purushartha is, I can only act in the present. Past is gone, dead. There is nothing I can do about past. I can sit down and groom about, oh, I should have done, I could have done, I would have done, all those could have, should have, would have, all those things I can do sitting here in the present. About past. Or I can think about my future. But I cannot do it in the future. Action cannot be done in the future. I can postpone present action. But when I am doing in the future, that has to be present. Right? Future never comes. I don't know if you know, the future never comes. What comes? Only present. Past is gone. Present, future is gone. And the strange thing is, very funny, how big is the present? Today is present. This hour is present. The second is present. The microsecond, picosecond. Keep dividing. The present is becoming narrower because present is where the past is meeting the future. Right? It's a thin line where past is meeting the future. That's where the present is. But if I keep dividing, it's disappearing. A picosecond past, picosecond future, what is there in the present? Time itself evaporates. Concept of time itself is gone. But there is somebody there who is dividing. Remember? You are dividing smaller. The divider, presence is there. He is the one who is dividing the present. My presence alone is there. That is the eternal truth. Why that is the eternal truth? Because that is the only one that you cannot dismiss. Because even to dismiss, I have to be present to dismiss it. So now, udayati na astameti, it cannot be beginning or end also, because it's always there, present. Every time is only present only. It's a dynamic present all the time. Therefore, karmani eva adhikaraste, you can only perform an action in the present, that's all available to you, because past cannot do and future can never be, and therefore, whatever I do has to be correct, to the best that I can do. What can I do? I have body, I have mind, and I have intellect. Those are the three things only I have. If my intellect is not enough, get the other people's intellect also. Get their advice, what to do, how to do. And when I venture into the problem, with all that, I am putting everything that I have. That is essentially samyak prayuktat sarvena. By completely, efficiently, I am performing the action, and that is the rule for success. It's a simple way of doing. That means I understand the laws of action. Why we don't act in the present? Because we are worried about the past. Or we are worried about what happened in the past. I've been failing every time. I'm going to fail. I don't know whether I'm going to pass or not. If I think all the past itself is, then I'll ruin my present. So what should I do? My mind is worried always about future or about the past. It's always exercise I give my notes in the class. Is whenever you're working, do this exercise. If you freeze your mind, you will see either you will be thinking of the past or you will be thinking of the future. There's actually one quotation by, I don't remember. Oh, Dalai Lama. I don't know if you know, if you YouTube, I just read that. Someone asked, what do you think of human being? Dalai Lama. He says, the man is a very strange being. This is a statement. He sacrifices his health in order to make money. First statement. Then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. He is so anxious about future, he does not enjoy the present. The result being, he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he is never going to die, and then dies having never really lived. It's a strange statement, that's a fact, isn't it? Because whenever we freeze our mind is either thinking of the past or thinking about the future. You try yourself. Anytime, this is the truth. Means we never live in the present. But Krishna is declaring karmanyeva adhikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. You can only live and act in the present alone. How you act, of course, you should have choices. What right of choices you should know. What is right, what is wrong, all those has to be done by dharma. Or at least ask somebody what is the right way of doing. If I don't know how to go direction, I'll ask somebody. Not after getting lost. Before that, I'd find out how the directions are. Otherwise, you have GPS. God, GPS is what? It's a God, right? First is G is Google. So it's a God. So that one who is providing the service there. So the point is, if I don't know, what should I do? Because some questions were asked in this one. So what should I do? Get GPS. He will give you the directions. Who is the GPS? There. That is offering to him, surrendering to him. Bring him down so that I don't worry about the past or about the future, so that I can play in the present. Follow now? Lord is not going to do you, but he will take care of the past and future worries so that I can act properly in the present. That's called GPS system. Right? You don't get lost, you will be coming right into the point. So essentially, the Vasishtha is telling that samyak prayatna, by effort you can do it and succeed in life. But I am not successful because I have expectations to reach. That's what my problem is. Here you have to be careful. I have certain expectations to reach, but I am not successful because I don't get the expected result. The problem, you see. So I have a stone in my hand and I want to throw. I expect this stone has to go all the way to Pittsburgh. And I am throwing. You'll say, what a stupid you are. How can you throw the stone all the way to Pittsburgh? But I am expecting. So there's a problem with your expectation. Because there is not there in the result. In the action, the result is not there. Result follows the action. Action has to be appropriate to give you the result, because that's a law. So, I had to make appropriate action to achieve that. If my achievement is not to the mark, that means my action is not to the mark, that's all. But other people got it through hooker means. Because they did other type of actions to get around the problem. But they will suffer the consequence. It's not other people's problem, it's your problem. Lord will take care of it. Don't worry about other people living unethically and all that. Because you are not going to solve other people's problems. Problem is, how should I do it? Take his help, do best. That's why it's called devotion and action. That's what is Karma Yoga is. Where I am devoted and act in the process. Because we think devotion is only when you go to a temple. So all bhakti comes out there. And once you go out of that, my relationship with the Lord is over. Now I have to relate myself with my wife or my child or my employment or my this. So all other relationship became a temporal role that I am playing as a father role or husband role or wife role or employee role. All roles that I am playing. And this devotee is also another role. I play that role when I go to temple. Oh Lord, Tannamana, Dhana, Sabguna, we do all that, right? But that's also a role. That means I have not understood God, what God is. When God is all-pervading everywhere, how can I leave him there? I have to take him wherever I go. Not the Vigraham, don't take Vigraham, but I have to take him. That means in my mind, I have to have the clear concept the Lord is everywhere also. So I cannot be a part-time devotee. I have to be a full-time devotee. Because I cannot that relationship is no more temporal relationship. My relationship with the Lord is all the time is there. Therefore, I had to be a full-time devotee. That means every action has to be, as Vasishtha is saying, it is samyak prayaktat. Everything you prayatnam, you do your effort maximum that is possible. Because Lord has already given you body, mind, intellect. Don't keep on begging Him all the time. If you come, everybody keep on, give me some more, give me some more. You get tired of it. So people are going there to the temple, say, oh Lord, give me this, give me that big list. Everybody is praying. Lord said, my God, I gave everything to Him. I gave them intelligence to think. What else He needs? He keep on bugging me all the He wants everything. That's why Lord doesn't even respond. All our Lords are very quiet. So, when we do, even to the Lord, we have to understand. Don't go, we are already given. Go to the temple and say, thank Him, Lord, you have given me this. Thank you, let me utilize this. That's what His Lord is happy. That's why He says, Jignasu and Jnani-cha, they are real bhaktas to me, not the other ones who comes with a big bowling ball. There's a big list of things. Not that you shouldn't do. You should do if you need that, because that at least gives you peace of mind. But what is there is understand what's the nature of the body. So here, the Vasishtha is emphasizing all human beings are suffering because 90% of them are worried either about the past or about the future, but they are not doing their maximum work in the present. That's called samyak. This prayaktas. Therefore, only with that one can live in the present and accomplish in the present. And that is true as long as you live in this world. So it says, Nahi kachit kshanamapi jatu tushtasya karma kratu. Not anybody, not a 1 second I can remain without acting. So even Jnani also has to breathe, Jnani also has to do. Jnani doesn't want unhappiness unnecessarily also. Oh, you are a Jnani, it doesn't matter to you, you should be happy for everything. No. He will be still feeling cold, he will be feeling hot, he needs a coffee, he needs all that, whatever the body requires, still there. Then what is good is different from Jnani versus Ajnani? Nothing. Only he knows and he doesn't know, that's all. That's all the difference is. So he lives, he doesn't linger that for a longer time other than whatever that needs. Swami Paramarthananda gives a beautiful example. It's called the frequency of disturbance of them becomes less. Called FIR reduction. So F is the Jnani, he does get disturbed. Don't say that Jnani doesn't, if he has to be angry, he will be angry. If he is compassionate, he will be compassionate also. If he is helpful, he will be helpful. So, FIR means the frequency of disturbance from that goes down as you start thinking more and more on that. That's called F. And I, the intensity of disturbance also goes down as one becomes established in that. And the recovery time from the disturbance also goes down. So, as you become, how do I know I become Jnani or not? This is the litmus state. Your frequency of disturbance, your intensity of disturbance, and your recovery of disturbance is FIR gets reduced slowly. Why it doesn't reduce immediately? Because of the problem. Same vasanas are still lingering, vasanas are there continuously. Even though jnanam is there, what is not there is jnana samskara, bhuta, nishtha is not there. The abidance in that knowledge all the time cannot be there because you are living in the world. Therefore, as long as I am living in the world, ups and downs always there. The car may not start one day, you will be agitated there. So these things will go on, but that's not the measure of knowledge or anything. Measure of knowledge is how that affects you on the overall and the total. That abidance in the knowledge has to come. Recovery has to be there too quickly. That here the emphasis of Vasishtha is every action has to be the best that you can do. So yoga karmashu kaushalam. Krishna says, an action is the one. Any action that whether you are cooking or whether you are doing washing, whether you are doing anything else, do best as you can. Just because you are a jnani, don't expect cooking goes on by itself. No, you have to do your work. Okay? So all other things exactly identical. Other than that, you do your part, your play, whatever you are doing as the best. And that she's emphasized as a first thing is first learn to do how to do best. And that is good for even to succeed materialistically also. That's why the Mahatmas are great planners. And they're called Sankalpam. Sankalpa means we say, we have to do this. Why he doesn't have to do it. But when he does it, the thing will go very smoothly. In my own experience with Swamiji, we know how we went through. You're talking about this organizers, we say, we have to organize these camps and all that. Every time, same problem. We organize big camp, and when you camp, not here, at least we have Chinmayam here. We used to have camp arranged where you have to reside in this. We have to give minimum number of rooms. And who is going to pay? Organizers have to pay. And you have to guarantee. And our Indians, they don't register until last minute. So we don't know whether we'll have enough people to register or not. We don't know what's going to happen. Well, last time it's the same, in the Chicago camp, the Shankar Pillai was calling me, hey Sadhap, make sure that Washington people come here. We have too many people registered. We don't have many rooms are there. We don't have many people registered. I don't know what to do. We have taken so many rooms and all that. But in the end, all gets filled up and overflowed. In fact, they didn't have place to people to stay. Why? Because we register last minute. Until then, the organizers have to be tapana. It means always say what to do, what happens, what is going to happen, and all that. They are really worried. And we went through all those things. That's why I gave up all those. He said, better to sit there and teach and let them worry about all other things. So this happens only because we do not act properly also. So here, plan properly, act efficiently, and give the results to him. And when you offer that, because he's everywhere, in every scene he is there, every setup he is there, so it becomes an offering, every action becomes an offering to him, then it becomes a prayer. Prayer is not just sitting here and do arati, that's only example training there. But everywhere it is a prayer only, because he is there everywhere. When he is there, everywhere, how can I be only a temporary devotee? I have to be full-time devotee. Devotion is not putting namaskaram every day, and then that's not the only devotion. Devotion is offering him patram, pushpam, palam, toyam. Anything. Yat kuroshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi dalasi yatu, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. He also gave up everything. He says, you don't do all that. Whatever you do, just offer that. I'm happy. It's a very simple statement, right? Yat karoshi, whatever you do, offer. Remember, we are offering to him. When we are offering to him, it should be worthy of offering. Right? Hey, this laddu is not good, let's give it to the God. We don't say that. So if laddu is only good, only we offer the Lord. The best we have to offer. So whenever we offer, we have to do the best. We have to give it the best. Therefore, when we are performing an action and offering that action itself as a prayer, because I don't have to chant this sloka, that sloka, any offering, just, oh Lord, this is yours. In fact, Tadiyam vastu Govinda, Tubhyameva samape, oh Lord, this is only yours, but I am giving it to you. Because I think that this is mine, that's my problem. Therefore, I am giving it to you. So when I offer action itself to him, when I had to offer the best that I can do. That means every action I had to do. Yoga karmasya kausalam. A yogi performs action the best that he can do. So you can watch all Mahatmas, Swami Tejomayanji or Swami Chinmayanji, every action, everywhere you go, everything, not only he does, when he's coming, people, organizers run around to make sure that everything is correct there. He knows, he sees that also. But that's a training. Because not only Vedanta in the lesson, but this is a training that the people who are organizers, they learn. That is the beauty of this mission. Why I'm saying this is how we started this mission here many years ago. And Swamiji asked me, a long time back, says, you start the mission, you buy the land yourself and buy it and then give it to. But Prakash Shoman was there at that time in the camp. Says, no, Swamiji, that's not the way. We'll register as a Chinmaya Mission Washington Regional Center and we will start. I had a very good friend by name Rajesh Bhalla. So he used to be very kind and say, you buy it, otherwise I'll buy it. He used to be like that. So at last we bought this place. Building was not there. And at that time it was very expensive. It was 250 or 280 something. People came forward, put their money down, bought it with the hope that it will grow. And we don't know who is going to maintain. So people themselves came forward, put money, monthly installment to cover the mortgage as a monthly commitment. Why they had to do all that? They were getting knowledge already with some way or other. Because they want to make sure this teaching goes on for generations. That is our obligation to our teachers. It's called Acharya Runam. Runam means our loan, because we come from, remember, when you go to temple, what do you say? I am coming from this Rishi. That's your Gotram. But Rishis are Veda. You don't know what the Rishi has done. And you claim I am coming from lineage. At least Rishi has, we have to study the scriptures, and the only way to study it is to give in a language that people can understand, and that's the purpose of the mission itself. So, few people came forward, committed themselves, and the building started. We were wondering how we are going to complete that. People came, became members. From the membership, we paid that off. Then we said, that is not enough. We need a bigger building. Then this building came. At that time, we were worried, how to raise the money for this? And remember, this is also finished. The loan for this is also finished. Now, we want to expand. Virginia is growing. Then we need a place there. Oh, we are from Maryland. We don't support Virginia. Same Virginians supported here. So, one has to see what is that I am supporting? Supporting this organization that is uplifting the whole society. Therefore, I had to come to help. And for that only the organizers, they are not asking for their family protection. No, it is so that generations can be benefited. Now we are able to sit in the air-conditioned room with all the lights, arrangements and all that. We just walk in and walk out only because somebody else has worked for this. So my role is essentially do what is my part as best as I can, and for the benefit of the Lord. Lord is nothing but the totality itself. So here he gives you a recipe of how to succeed. And then he tries to differentiate what difference between one human being and another human being. What is the cause for the differences here, the root cause of the differences, and how one can evolve from the knowledge. So we are going to back basically the texture of vasanas that we have, because that's the root cause. Go ahead.
Dvividau vasana vyuhaha shubhaschaiva shubhaschate vasanaughena shuddhena tatra chedapaniyase dvividau vasana vyuhaha shubhaschaiva shubhaschate vasanaughena shuddhena tatra chedapaniyase.
So he says there are two types of vasanas here. So although there is one V, it has two types depending on the texture. So dvividha vasana vyuhaha is called vasana vyuham. So remember Padma Vyuham you heard? See, it means it's really difficult to get out of it. It's very entangled things that are binding us together. Says that's vasanavayum dvividha. There are two types, and shubha, ashubha. There are good ones and the bad ones. There are two types. So what are the good ones and what are the bad ones? It's going to tell, but the good ones are the ones that take me to higher. Bad ones are that take me to lower. That's a simple. Now, so what is higher, what is lower? You are only giving more and more complications. So what is higher and what is lower? Higher is that which makes my mind calm and quiet. Lower is that which makes my mind more disturbed and more agitated. It's so simple. So that is devotion to the higher called devotion. Love for the higher is devotion. Love for the lower called lust. You are falling. Right? Falling in love is falling down. And you raise in devotion. You are going up. That's one is higher, one is lower. So this is Dvivida Vasana Vyuha Shubha Ashubhaschaiva Vasana Oghena. See, essentially this. So Vasana Oghena Suddhena. By the stream of good vasanas, say Suddhena Tatra Ched Apaniyase. So by this good vasanas, you go higher up. What are good vasanas and what are they? So we said, when I perform an action for the benefit of the totality, that becomes a good vasana. When I perform the action only for my sake, that becomes a bad one. That means selfish. Remember, fish is there, fish stinks. So when the selfish action contributes to bad vasana, the one that is beneficial to everybody, including myself, everybody includes myself also, beneficial to everybody, that is the good vasana. Loka, samasta, sukhino bhavantu. So we are praying, oh Lord, let everybody be happy. Say, how about me? Everybody, you are included in everybody also. So you don't have to ask everybody, oh, my father, my daughter, my this, all those things are already included in the everybody itself. So I am praying for, that is our prayers. So the benefit of everybody that I do is what is good, and that will take my mind higher. That's called mano vikasa. Vikasa means opening. The mind opens up in the process. When I engulf myself with everyone, mind is expanding, vishalata, and in that I include everybody into this to the degree that I can, at least mentally, if not financially or physically. In the process, I expand. Oh, I cannot include, I cannot help everybody, I cannot do, I am only, at least think and sit and pray and do for the benefit of everybody. So I can do whatever I can in my capacity. If he didn't give enough, that's his problem, not your problem. So don't worry, I don't have enough to give for the Chinmaya mission. Don't worry, whatever you have, you give it. That's okay, we will take it. So it's not that. Say, whatever I can give. But whatever Chinmaya mission pledge. I don't know, you mentioned Chinmaya, giving more than what we take. So giving more than what I grab, I have to give more. If I don't have more, that is his problem. He didn't give me enough. But actually the truth, the fundamental truth of life is what you give, only what you get. If you don't give, you won't get. I don't want to tell the story, but I have one relative, he never gave. But now if he complains that his children themselves are not taking care, because that's how he brought them up. So, only by giving, you can only receive back. You become eligible to receive also. So, giving, whom should I give? For the benefit of totality, for that which helps everybody. Okay? And the highest that you can give, in the 4th chapter of Gita, Krishna tells there are a lot of yajnas that one can perform. Of highest you can give is jnana yajnam. That's what Chinmaya mission does, is jnana yajnam. That is the highest yajna of all yajnas. You can give cloth, you can give food, you can give all that. But the highest yajna is that there is a jnanam. Why it's highest? Because the more you give, the more you get. That's a jnanam. Because jnanam you don't lose. Money, if you give, you don't have any more money, you gave it, right? Whereas when you give jnanam, your jnanam doesn't go. Your jnanam only increases only in the process. So that's why it is the highest, knowledge is the highest. If you give knowledge, that is the highest giving. That doesn't mean that you should not give. When people are starving, don't go and preach jnanam. That's not what it means. First they have to eat, then only they can listen to jnanam. So basic things have to be there. After that, the jnanam becomes important. So in this country, nobody is starving. At least most of the Indians are comes under higher earning capacity. And what we can give is mostly in terms of, if we cannot teach ourselves, at least make a facility so that the teaching can go on. That is the benefit to everybody. So that becomes a Shubha Vasana. So is it not Vasana? Yes. But that is Shubha Vasana. And that will make you higher and higher. In the Viveka Chudamani, it says, Muktirnya satakoti sukritaihi punyairvina labhyate. It says, Atmanatma vivechanam swanubhavo brahmatmana samstitam. Muktirnaha satakoti janma sukritaihi. So the benefit of the hundreds of koti means course of lives of my past is the one that I am able to get in touch with this kind of knowledge. So you do not know how lucky you are or how beneficial. Somebody might have asked you to come, but the fact that you came here is you are the one who is getting benefit out of it. But what is the reason for it? Because of the merits of so many, because the Vedanta, Sravanam itself is very rare indeed. It's very difficult to get. Manushyatvam, Amushutvam, Mahapurusha Santrayam, Durlabham Trayami Vaitadu, Daiva Anugraha Hetukam. It's only by the blessing of the Lord, and the Lord is nothing but my own karmas, subha karmas in the past, itself coming in the process for me to get exposed to this highest philosophy that is put in the Vedanta. Vedanta means end of Vedas where the Upanishads are, but also Vedanta means it is the ultimate knowledge. Remember, in all other knowledges, the more I know, the more ignorant I am becoming. Right? Because I know that there are a lot more things I need to know which I didn't know before. But Vedanta knowledge, a student goes to a teacher and asks me, Kasminno bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati. He daringly asks, oh Lord, please teach me that knowledge, knowing which I know everything. He didn't ask chemistry, teach me biology, teach me this, because the more you learn, remember, you only specializing in small event. But here, if an Upanishad student goes to a teacher and daringly asks, teach me that knowledge, knowing which I will know everything. Eka vijñāna ena sarva vijñānam bhavati. Knowing that, I know everything. And he teaches. What he teaches? Next camp. So, that is Vedanta, that is ultimate knowledge, because Veda means knowledge and Anta means the ultimate. Therefore, that is what is scripture. And for that, you need to deserve that, you need to have the merits of the past that will help you to come here. So that's essentially, he says, that is the one that is helping, the Shubha Vasanas. What to do with the Ashubha Vasana, he's going to tell us.
Tatkramena shubhenaiva
Tatkramena shubhenaiva
Padam prapsyasi shashvatam
Padam prapyasi shashvatam
Atacheda shubho bhavaha
Adacheda shubho bhavaha
Yatnat jetavya eva saha
Yatnat jetavya eva saha
Tatkramena shubhenaiva Padam prapsyasi shashvatam Atacheda shubho bhavaha Yatna chetavya eva saha.
So that Kramena, slowly, because of the good merits that you are, good things that you are doing, it will propel your mind to the higher and higher, and says that Padam Prapyasi Shashvatam Padam Prapyasi, the highest abode that one can reach, you will reach ultimately. Okay, one day or other. Because those good vasanas will help you to propel to find a teacher, and that is the help you to take you to higher. So that's what the Shubha Vasana will do. What about my Ashubha means bad vasanas? What should I do? And here it says, Atachet Ashubho Bhavaha Yatnas Chetavya Eva Saha. And in case if you have bad vasanas, in case, I know you don't have it, but in case you have bad vasanas, you make an effort to redirect them towards higher. So, yatna, by effort, you have to change the direction of the vasanas towards higher. See, I have a vasana to cut him into 2 pieces with a knife. No problem. Go through medical school, become a surgeon, and do what is required. You can cut him. So, the desire for the vasanas that are bad, you have to redirect yourself. Now you have to be very careful here. What is vasanas do? What I do has to be understood. Vasanas are the products of my past actions. Right? All clear now? Remember coffee? Coffee because I accumulated because of my past. And therefore vasana has come. So vasanas are the total vasanas called sanchita karma, the total account I have. Total balance account. Of which I brought into this life, which can be exhausted in this form, in this particular form, in this country, to this parents, all those, all those, particular location, all that is dictated by prarabdha karma that I brought in. It's called my prarabdha, remember we call it? That karma decides where I should be born, in what form, whether a man, a woman, or a dog, or a donkey, or whatever, in whatever life form I had to take in order to exhaust those vasanas that are ready to germinate. Now in the process, when I am having a capability to will, means whether to do or not to do, there is a deciding factor, then I have to make a decision. What decision makes depends upon my past vasanas and what I am going to get in future. So now understand clearly. All the past vasanas I am now in is the situation that I am in. Is what I have. So what I have is result of the past. You are here because you came all the way. That's all past, right? 1 second, all that, everything is past. You are here. So the present is a product of the past. So the present situation that I am encountering, where I have to act, is environment. And environment is produced by my past vasanas. Shubha or Ashubha. Now, as a human being, I have Purushartha. He just now said in the previous sloka, he said the Purushartha is there, activity by action is there, therefore I have a choice in the action. Even though environment is given to me, I have a choice. No, I don't have a choice, I have to do. People complain, right? So according to Vedanta, I am saying according to Vedanta, there is a choice. Kartum sekyum, akartum sekyum, anadha kartum sekyum. You have choice to do, not to do, or do it another way. That 3 choices you always have. You say, I don't have choice because you want only particular result. That's why you don't have choice. So I have choice in do. So essentially now, we have 2 things. What I have is prarabdha. This is a statement by Guru Vaidibhai. Beautiful statement. What I have is prarabdha. What I do with what I have is purushartha. Okay? So what I have at any moment is prarabdha. And what I do with what I have now is purushartha. And the future prarabdha is nothing but past prarabdha modified by present action. Okay? If this understood, whether it's a good vasanas or bad vasanas, how I act now determines my future. I may be a prisoner of my past, but I am a master of my future. I can steer my ship in the direction against the flow. I may be going slow, but I can still put a motor there, that's willpower to go against the stream. Stream of vasanas is pushing me down, but I can still try to go, at least go slower or something else in order to obstruct. So essentially here, I have the choice to turn, to go against my own vasana. That's why he is a human being. Animals don't have choice. They follow instinctively. Tiger doesn't have a choice whether to be vegetarian from tomorrow on or not. It doesn't question. It doesn't have discriminative faculty. From now on, today I should have Chinese food rather than Indian food. No. That choice it doesn't have. It eats what is given and eats only what it needs. And leave the rest for the rest, because the rest of the animals are waiting when he leaves. Scavengers are there. Only man is the one who overeats. Right? He eats more than what he needs. Isn't it? He needs is what? He eats more than what he needs. And that is because I have a choice. So, I have choice to be a vegetarian or not vegetarian. Man only will ask question. And depending on his samskara, he has to redirect the mind. And if I go wrong path, no problem. Turn around. So bring it back again. So that choice is also human being has every time. Even though I make a mistake, now I know. I am expert in mistakes now. So one father-in-law has a lot of money. He goes to son-in-law. Hey, you invest now. Any way you want. He was so liberal to son-in-law. So son-in-law was surprised. Sir, you remember I went into venture that I lost there, I went into venture this one I lost there, he went so many things, all projects are failure and you are giving me again money to do something? He says, because I know you have all learned every failure in the world. Now you can only succeed. Because now you have knowledge of what not to do. So even if I make a wrong step, I have the capacity to turn, because we take a wrong exits all the time. So we find out, we ask gas station, say, it's a guru, gas station guru asks where is how to go to back or whatever. So we'll come back again to find. So this essentially is telling us by yatnat, by prayatnat, where you have to make a self-effort is required in order to turn your attention to the direction to go here. Yes, I went through all my life in the wrong direction. Now I am being given opportunity, Lord. But remember, every law, every situation is only provided, but you have to make a decision. To come to the class or not to come to class, your decision. You made the decision and came. That is yatna. So a choice is given at every moment, but how you exercise choice is your samskara, and the future samskara will determine at what you are doing present with the opportunities that are given. And that's essentially emphasizing here the Shubha, Ashubha, and how to turn from the good and the bad, and how to turn away from the bad. Now, what should I do with the good vasanas? He's going to tell us next.
Shubha Shubhabhyam Margabhyam
Shubha Shubhabhyam Margabhyam
Vahanti Vasana Sarit
Vahanti Vasana
Paurushena Prayatnena Yojaniya Shubhepati
Yojaniya Shubhepati
Shubha Shubhabhyam Margabhyam Vahanti Vasana Sarit Paurushena Prayatnena Yojaniya Shubhepati.
So here, still we are in the introduction in terms of when we have those two, the good ones and the bad ones, and the Margabhyam, Vahanti, Vasana, like a flow of river, it is flowing like this. So you have to turn, go in the direction of the good, and the bad ones, you have to turn them in the direction of the good ones only. So, Paurushena Prayatnena. By Purusha Prayatnam, by self-effort only, you can change your bad vasanas into good ones. And Swamiji gives in the meditation book, when the mind is, my mind to meditate, but there is a flood of thoughts going all the time. So it is the quantity of the thoughts, quality of the thoughts, and the direction of the thoughts. So how do I know my vasanas? Vasanas are grooves in which the thoughts flow. Thought is flow, right? Flow means involves a direction. In what direction they flow? A groove is formed already. That groove is what is called a vasana. We think in this way. Other fellow will think the other way. That's a groove that's formed. So grooves can be changed. So we have quality, quantity, and the direction. If the river is flowing so much, I cannot control the river when it is flooded, right? So I had to reduce the quantity, I had to change the quality and the direction in the process. That is Paurushena Prayatnena Yojaniya Subhepati. In the direction of the good, I had to turn, and in the direction of the good is something higher. Nobler is something where the benefit of everything else is involved. And at least higher is something towards God, because God is highest. So higher the goal, the greater will be the driving force toward that. So you don't have energy to do it, but energy comes from where? Balam balavadamasmi, tejasvinamasmi. I am the strength in the strong. Krishna declares everything is told in the Gita itself. Where did you get the strength? I am able to lift my hand. Where did you get it? It's the life force. If that force is withdrawn, I cannot do this even. I cannot even fold. So how far I had to see the Lord? Here is right there is the Lord, because the presence of the Lord is right there. The very fact that I can fold my hand is because of Him presence. If I can recognize it, that's the thought flow. So direction of the thought, direction of this can be changed by self-effort. Paurushat Prayatnena. And when I invoke His presence, remember I told you, every action I am offering, and when I offer, it has to be worthy to offer. And when I am offering to the Lord, I can offer not lousy laddus, or to make good laddus. Don't make laddus, rasamalai I like. So make good rasamalai, and you can offer to the Lord. So once you offer to the Lord, what should you do? What do you do with the laddu or rasamalai that you made? You have to distribute everybody. Remember, prasadam? You have vasanas to eat rasamalai. You made a lot of it. That's what Lord says. And give it to the Lord. But once you give it to the Lord, give it to everybody. Your vasana, you are distributing to everybody. But it becomes a prasadam. Once you are offering, that is naivedyam. You don't offer prasadam. You offer naivedyam. That is nivedanam. And it comes from Him, it is prasadam now. When prasadam is offered, you don't ask the question, who made this prasadam? This today is good. Yesterday prasadam was not good. You don't ask those questions, because it's prasadam, it comes from the Lord. If I have clear understanding, we don't ask who made, what is this and all that. It is coming, we accept it with reverential attitude, which is, how come I am getting only a little bit, other fellow is getting more? We don't ask. I accept with a reverential attitude what comes. The same attitude I have to inculcate outside. I don't like this prasadam. I perform my action, result doesn't come the way I want. But that's the prasadam. Because He is giving the result. That's what He is karma paladata. That's the definition of the Lord itself. He is the given results of the result. But that's not what I want. That's a separate question. What you want is separate. What He gives is what you deserve. Oh, I don't deserve this. Then do better action. Next time. So every time I can only act properly. Accept what comes. If not what I want, then act better. Next time better. If my ball doesn't go into the basket first time, now I know how far I have deviated. Next ball I will do better. That's what sadhana is. That's what I have to inculcate. That's called Paurushat Prayatnena. By making a self-effort, determination effort, I had to convert my bad vasanas into good vasanas. I may not be that giving, but at least your partner will be giving. My partner is here. She is very giving. I have to wonder whether the bank account is still here or not. But so giving. But she drives along with me. I never refuse her whenever she wants to give. I may not come forward, but she comes. I'm glad she's here. So people tell that I tell all sorts of stories about my wife, but these stories also I tell also. Good stories also I tell. She's a great lady. You may not know, but I know. So, because everybody in our house, if I buy a lot of sweets in India, I like sweets. Next day they disappeared. So I can't find any sweets because she already distributed everybody the prasadam. So that's what happens, because for my health, obviously. So that is what is required in terms of turning your mind to higher and higher, at least by you or by your partner, by help, that you have to take advantage of. Says, Paurushena prayatnayana yojaniya shubhapate, in the direction of Shubham, oneness. In the next, the page 30 or 31, Swami Tejamayanji has given a steps, of so many steps involved, you can read at home, where I can convert my direction into the higher. Says, this is based on Gurudev's what is called introspection and self-analysis, where I dissect myself at least the end of the day, what I have done. Is there something really I accomplished today? Go back, what is not right, what is not, substitute what should be done. Next day you don't have to repeat that. So that is what is the procedure to train the mind. Paurushena prayatnena, one can convert slowly towards the Shubha aspect. Please read this page 31 and 32, and in that ultimately Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, all this comes, how to tune the mind. So yoga is the mind. When my mind and intellect are divergent, that's what we have to converge. Intellect says, I know what is right. Remember, everybody knows not to hurt anybody, because I don't like anybody to hurt me, therefore I should not hurt anybody. We know that. But the mind, between vasana comes in between, it splits the mind and intellect, says, chalega today. You know, doctor told me not to eat sweets, because I am diabetic. Not that I am diabetic, you can bring sweets tomorrow, don't worry about it. But I cannot eat sweets. He says, doctor, therefore, intellect says not to eat. I said, today one is okay, no one is watching. My wife is in the other room, so I can eat a little bit now. So this compromise between the mind and intellect says not to do, and mind says, the feeling says, what is right is different from what I feel like doing. What I feel like doing because of the vasanas come between the intellect and the mind. And the divergence between the mind and intellect, what Swami Gurudev calls it sin. I am committing a sin when these two are diverged. And yoga is the one that integrates the mind and intellect. What I think, what I feel, and what I do. That's called arjavam. Arjavam is straightforward. There is no confusion. I may not like that guy, but I know he's a straightforward man. What he does, and I know exactly, I can predict what he's going to do. Because I know his mentality, he follows the rules. I may not agree with him, that's a separate, but I respect him for what he is. Because that's arjavam. That Krishna gives in the 13th chapter, he says that is required for study. Because only an integrated mind and intellect is the one that really conducive for the knowledge also. What time we are supposed to break? 3:20? We have people. So that is the Shubha and Ashubha, and one has to redirect in the process. Okay, let's go. Next sloka.
Tata pakvakashayena Nunam vijñāta vastuna Shubhāpyasau tvaya tyajyo Vasanādyo niradhina Tata pakvakashayena Nunam vijñāta vastuna Shubhāpyasau tvaya tyajyo Vasanādyo niradhina.
So here, I can convert the bad vasanas into good ones by self-effort. Now what do? I have a lot of good vasanas. I want to help here, I want to help there, so it has become so much helping, and say I'm running all over, I don't have time, I'm committed here, I'm committed there, I'm committed there, what should I do? Should I live like this all the time? The scripture is now very careful here. Even the good vasanas you have to give up. That also becomes a bondage, because what is required is knowledge. That is the ultimate truth. So, bad vasanas convert into good vasanas. Now, good vasanas will help you to go higher up, provided you know what is higher. So, when the mind and intellect is integrated, I have to use that integrated mind to pursue something higher, because that has to be done. And what is higher? Highest is the higher than whatever. Highest is, we remember? That is the only one that was beginning before the creation, and the knowledge of that is the highest knowledge. There is no other knowledge, because any other knowledge is only ignorance. Therefore, the ultimate purpose of life itself is that. How long I had to do that? Until you realize that there is nothing else. Because all other things is preparation for that only. Therefore, even the Shubha Vasanas are only a stepping stone, and when you step in the stone, you give up the lower step to go to the higher step. That's what is stepping, isn't it? Climbing the steps involves relieving the lower steps in order to get the next step. So, Chage Naiki Amritattva Manasuku. By giving up only you can realize the higher. So, what is that I had to give up? Because I am doing the good things is also a problem there. It becomes a problem. I had to do this, I had to do this. I become restless if I don't eat, then that becomes a problem there. Therefore, what should I give up? Don't give up the good things. It's not that way. You have to be very careful. Not stop doing good things, but stop that I have to do good things. Convert by looking at Lord is doing through me. I am not even a doer. So everything remains the same. Nothing is changing now, right? You convert the bad vasana into good vasanas. And the good vasanas, the way you have to do it is slowly give up by going higher, because you cannot but act in the world. That is the problem. When you are doing the action, but I had to do it properly in the step where I give up the kartrutva bhavam in the process by the knowledge that he is a karta, I am only an instrument in the process. So here, we have to be careful here in the sense that it says even the good vasanas have to be given up by knowing what? It says vijñāta vastuna, by knowing the knowledge of vastu. Vastu means the absolute truth. By having the absolute truth of the knowledge of the absolute, you give up the vasanas of where vasanas come because of the notion of doership. The kartrutva bhavam is there. So by understanding that I am not a karta, how do I understand? Krishna himself teaches that also. Prakuccheva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvasaha yah pasyati tadatmanam akartaram sa pasyati. So all the actions are done by the Prakriti. Remember in the meditation in the morning, we are breathing and all that. Who is breathing? You think I am deliberately breathing. He says, don't disturb me, I am very busy. What? I am breathing. Why are you unnecessarily breathing? So, I am breathing is not really a deliberate, effortful action. You can make it as a pranayama, but breathing can go on. And digestion can go on. What we do is put all that junk into the stomach, right? This sweet, that sweet, and lot of this oily food, that oily food. And Krishna has to work whole night to digest that food. You are sleeping, but he has to work whole night. Because proper gastric juices have to come in time, in process. Who does that? Oh, nature will take it. Remember the recent scientists were saying, it's not God created this world, it's nature laws created. I don't know if you know. And We didn't ask, you say, who created the natural laws? That question doesn't come for him. For us it comes. So the question is essentially, even though I convert into good vasanas, even the good vasanas have to be step by step given up. Where it is given up is kartrutva bhavam. I am doing it. I am helping these people. I am helping that people. I am. Say, yes, help is going on because Lord gave me this and they say He is asking me to give that. So forget it next time. Don't worry. Don't keep that burden on you. That I am doing this, I am doing that. And that's how you have to give up. Not helping. Helping you continue as long as you are living. But only the kartrutva bhavam has to be given. That can only be given up by having the higher vision. And that's what essentially nunam vijñāta vastuna shubha pyasaut tvaya tyajau vasana joni radhana. So without the vasanas only, you can purify the mind. Now, I have good vasanas, I have bad vasanas, I converted bad vasanas into good vasanas, and then what should I do next? I'm giving up the bad vasanas, good vasanas also slowly. What should you do? Before tea, what are we going to do? So we have to have tea first. That vasanas, we cannot before. So we will come back, and then how we proceed from there on. Because there are 4 gatekeepers, we need to please them. That's what is required, and we'll do that after the tea break now. 3:20, 3:40, 3:30, 3:30, 3:40. Wow. 20 minutes of tea.